Hello, my dear students. Today we all will do question answers from the chapter Landscape of the Soul. In this video, I have included questions and answers, and the value points that you are able to see out here, it's written in points. Okay, these points you have to mold it into a paragraph and you will answer in the examination. Okay, you are not going to write in points the way I have done it. It will be easier for you to understand. That is why I have done it in this way. Okay, but in the examination it is not accepted. Therefore, taking all these points, you have to mold it into a paragraph and then you will answer the question. I hope it's clear to everyone. Let's move towards the first question. And another important thing which I want to tell you is that here I'm going to discuss only value points. I'm not going to explain much. And if you want explanation of the chapter, then you can go to another video which I will share in the description link. Okay, let's begin. First question is, contrast the Chinese view of art with the European view with examples. The first point that you need to include is, the Chinese view of art does not choose any single point of view. Chinese art can be viewed from any angle. So here, your value point will be, it can be viewed from any point, and Chinese art can be viewed from any angle as well. Okay, any point and any angle. These are value points in this line. The onlooker or the viewers may only enter it mentally and physically. Here, the viewer can go into it mentally and physically. The artist only helps the viewer to enter the landscape. Artist, okay, because of their realistic landscape or the painting, the viewers can enter into the landscape itself. It means through mind we can go into the landscape that the painter has created. The beautiful example that we find is of Wu Daozi. Wu Daozi's painting of landscape which he had made it for emperor. He entered the cave in his painting. The painting on the wall vanished. Here, he means Wu Daozi entered into the cave and it vanished. Okay, let's continue. The painter wanted the viewer not to appreciate outer appearance but enter into his mind. So Chinese art is not limited to physical painting, but through mind we should involve ourselves into that. On the other hand, the European art makes a viewer to view art from the point of the artist only. Here it means whatever artist has created, it will reach to the audience, of course, but nothing apart from that. Okay. The writer gives the example of the painting of a fly made by Quentin Metzy. If you have read the summary, then you must have remembered Quentin Metzy, who wanted to marry famous painter's daughter. So he had made a fly, okay, a very realistic painting of fly he had made in the studio of his would-be father-in-law, and this is an example of European art. The fly was so real that he was accepted as a disciple by the master painter whose daughter he wanted to marry. So these are the points that you have to write in your answer, okay, here and here. Now we will move towards question number 2. In question number 2, we find explain the concept of sansui. So here we have to explain what is sansui. Let me tell you. The literal meaning of sansui is mountain water, which used together stands for landscape. Mountain plus water. When we add these two words, we get landscape. Okay. The mountain is young. This mountain is young, reaching vertically towards the heaven. It always moves upward. Okay. It is stable. It does not move. Mountain does not move. It is warm because it is towards the sky. In the sky we find sun. Therefore it is dry. Okay. It is active and masculine. Here it is active. It is growing. Okay. We don't realize, but mountain is growing every day. And it is male energy of the nature. On the other hand, water is yin. Okay, water is yin. It is horizontal and is resting on the earth. We know river flows like this. Okay, river never flows like this upward. Okay, so here it flows like this. Okay, in horizontal manner. So this is what we get to see here. And it is fluid, it is liquid in form, it is moist, okay, and it is cool, it is warm. Mountain is warm, but river is cool. And this is the characteristic of yin energy, which is feminine, okay, female energy of nature. These are the two complementary poles reflecting the Taoist view of the universe. According to Taoist, nature is incomplete without mountain and water energy, yin and yang energy. The middle void is the essential third element. Here, out of these two, mountain and river, there is a void. There is an empty space which is filled by human interference. Okay, unless and until we use the material of the nature, it will be useless. Okay, therefore we should utilize the material which is provided by nature, but we need to keep in mind sustainable development as well. Okay, this part we will understand in part 2 of the chapter. Till now you have to understand these points. I hope it is clear. Man becomes the conduit of communication between the heaven and the earth. He is the eye of the landscape. Without human being, the nature is also incomplete. Okay, we have to use resources, but we have to take care of nature as well. And that is how the energy of yin and yang gets fulfilled. Next question is, what do you understand by the terms outsider art and art brut or raw art? Let's see. The term art brut was given by the French painter Jean Dubuffet during the 1940s. It refers to the art of the untrained visionary, the people who are not trained. All right, they are born artists of minority vision. Minority vision. Here it means intricate details. This term has given birth to outsider art. The artists who are untrained, but their mind and heart is towards forming or creating something. They are called outsider art. This genre is described as the art of those people who have received no formal training of the art, yet they show talent and artistic insight. Their works are indeed stimulating. Art brut or raw art stands for art in its raw state. Raw means without much change. The art which is natural, which is pure in form. It means that art which is under the influence of culture and art, but it has not risen to a matured stage or status. Here they create something, but they are not trained. It has not reached to matured level, but still they are attractive enough to turn the head of the people to see their art. Next question number 4. Who was the untutored genius who created a paradise and what is the nature of his contribution to art? Here, the creator is Nek Chand. What he has created? He has created Rock Garden at Chandigarh, and he is untutored genius. He is not trained, but he is genius, because of which he has received Nobel Prize as well. He has literally created a paradise in a little patch of jungle. In order to make that garden, he cleared small area of jungle. He is widely hailed as India's biggest contributor to outsider art. He contributes towards India's outsider art. What is outsider art? I have already told you. People who are not trained, but their creation is famous. Okay, it was a head turner. He has used anything and everything from a tin to a sink to a broken down car as the material for a work of art. Nek Chand has used everything that he found useless. He has made a single-handed contribution to art by using the waste and recycled material for art. Without anyone's help, he has created this rock garden in Chandigarh. I hope this question is clear to you all. Let's add few more points for making it long question answer. So other points are, he is an artist who has converted his dreams into reality and a little jungle into a world that is the hub of artistic pleasure. In the summary, I had mentioned, in line-wise explanation rather, I have shown you different pictures. So here we find it is a hub. Okay, it is a hub of artistic pleasure. Everything is arranged beautifully and it has become a piece of art. His contribution is recognized by the Swiss Commission. Please don't forget, children. Swiss Commission for UNESCO by arranging a European exposition of his work. They have made exposition, or it was open for everyone. Alright, so that others will also get inspired by his work. Many other countries have also honored him for his contribution to art. His contribution was very important. That is why he was received wholeheartedly by other countries as well. A UK-based magazine devoted to outsider art, Raw Vision, has featured Nek Chand and his rock garden, that sculpture Women by the Waterfall, on the cover of its anniversary issue. This was another feather on his cap when he was called by US-based magazine, to have interview with him. Not only that, to print the image of rock garden on its front page. That too during its anniversary issue. It is a rare honor indeed. It was not given to everyone. It was unique in its own form to a person who has had no formal training in art. Had it been done by trained artists, it would have been of more importance. But here, extraordinary importance was given to Nek Chand because he is not only creating something, but at the same time he is saving earth as well. Next short question is, how did stories play an important role in Chinese classical education? So here, the points that you all have to include are, first of all, stories played an important role in Chinese classical education. The ancient education which prevailed in China, it had great role to play. Stories had a great role to play. They were convenient, used to make the concepts clear to the pupils. Through stories, the concepts related to different topics were clear to pupils or the students. Such stories were not only fanciful but also informative. It is not only imaginary stories, but those are informative as well. Through stories, information was imparted to the students. The stories in the books of Confucius and Zhuangzi help the master or the teacher to guide his disciples in following the right direction. Through the motivational and inspirational story of great leaders like Confucius and Zhuangzi, children were made disciplined, and it was very convenient for the masters to train their disciples. Disciples means students, okay, trainees. So, through their stories, it was possible for them to guide in a proper direction. They reveal the spirit in which art is considered. They reveal the spirit, okay, the essence of art was conveyed to them through stories. Okay, it was real, it was made so real, okay, not only the painting but the stories as well, so that the listeners can relate it to their life as well. Through motivational stories, we change our mind. When we see a movie, okay, which is related to patriotism, then we start thinking of becoming that particular leader. It is happening because the images which is created by those pictures are so real. Our mind works in that direction once it is there in our mind. So the same thing is done by stories as well. Okay, so these are the points that you have to include in the question which is given here. Next short question is, who was Wu Daozi? What did he ask the emperor to do? Wu Daozi was a famous painter of China who lived in the 8th century. He asked the emperor to look into a cave of his painting at the foot of the mountain where a spirit lived. So these are the points that you have to mention. Explanation I have already done in the summary. Okay. Next, the short question. Question number 3. What happened which astonished the emperor? The painter clapped his hands. Okay, first you have to mention this point. And the door of the cave opened. The painter entered the cave, but the door closed after him. The painting vanished with its painter, much to the astonishment of the emperor. Here, emperor was greatly surprised to see painter and the painting vanishing in front of his eyes. Let's move to question number 4. Wherein lay the greatness of Chinese art? Why should Chinese art should be given utter importance? What is its greatness? At first, you have to mention the Chinese art aimed at complete freedom to the viewer. It believed in multiple viewpoints. It is not only limited to one particular point, but the viewer can view it from any point. Okay, and the image will be clear. The image will be clear, and they will be able to relate themselves to the painting. So that was the freedom which was given by Chinese form of art. It did not want to project only the artist's point of view, as it happened in the case of Fly, which you have already done in the story. Okay, it is totally opposite. It gives freedom. Viewers can see it from anywhere, and the picture will be clear. Okay, and they will be able to relate themselves to this story. So it wanted the viewer to see the landscape as he perceived it and not as the artist perceived it. So the painting, okay, here example is of a landscape. Okay, the painting of a landscape. So here the painting which the viewer is viewing, okay, they can see anything in that: mountain, plains, rivers. Okay, it is not only limited to the perspective of the painter. So these are the points that you need to mention. Next question is question number 5. What was Wu Daozi asked to do? Wu Daozi was asked to paint a landscape by the Tang Emperor Zhuangzong. Please remember, students, his empire's name was Tang and emperor's name is Zhangzong. The emperor wanted to adorn his palace with Daozi's landscape painting. Daozi hid his work behind a screen so that only the emperor could see it. Emperor had asked him to make a painting. He made it and hid it behind the curtain. Question number 6. What do the stories in the books of Confucius and Zhuangzi do? The stories in the books of Confucius and Zhuangzi help the master to guide his disciple in following the right direction. Following the right direction. Next point that you have to include is, they reveal They reveal the spirit in which art is considered. Okay, they reveal, that means demonstrate the way art should be understood by the viewer. Next, question number 7. Why couldn't the painter paint the eye of a dragon? Let's see the answer. The painter could not paint the eye of the dragon he had painted for the fear it would fly out of the painting. The painters of those days laid stress on the spirit of painting. At that time, in the case of European art, they used to emphasize on making things, okay, which are so real. They did not think about the viewer's perspective. So whatever they made, that was so perfect, and apart from those things, they did not see anything. Here, example was of fly which Quentin Metzy had made. Let's move to another question. Question number 8. Why wouldn't the painter accept Quentin Metzy as the son-in-law? Let's see the answers. Quentin Metzy was a blacksmith who fell in love with painter's daughter. This will be your points, okay? He was a blacksmith and he fell in love with the painter's daughter. But the painter considered Quentin's profession low. He was a blacksmith, therefore, would-be father-in-law of Quentin did not allow him to marry his daughter. So he did not accept Quentin as his son-in-law. That is why, because of his low profession, he did not allow Quentin to marry his daughter. Question number 9. What did Quentin Metzys do to marry his sweetheart? The points that you need to include are: Metzys sneaked into painter's studio. Painter is would-be father-in-law. Okay, would-be father-in-law of Quentin Metzy studio, and painted a fly on his latest panel. He painted a fly, okay, on a latest panel with such realism. Okay, it was so realistic that even the great painter could not find the reality. Reality was, it was a painting, okay, that Metzy's would-be father-in-law could not understand that it was not a real fly, but it was a painted one. The reality of this painting of fly was unrevealed to would-be father-in-law, okay, the great painter. Therefore, he became impressed when found that it was a painting which was painted by Quentin Metzys. Question number 10. What is the difference between European art and Asian art? If it comes in short question answers, you have to write only these few points. The European art tries to achieve illusionistic likeness, okay, a delicate realism, but the Asian art tries to achieve the essence of inner life and spirit. Here, the European art wants to copy the exact form and appearance of something. Okay, in the case of dragon and in the case of fly, we have already seen the case. Okay, so they want to copy exactly through painting. But in Asian art, the viewers should use their heart and mind to look at a painting. They will not see only one thing in the painting, but they can take their mind to some other place through that painting. This is the difference between European art and Asian art. Question number 11. What is the difference between the approach of a European painter and Chinese painter? First point will be, the European painter wants an onlooker to be guided by him. European painter wants to guide the viewer. He wants him to borrow his or painter's eye and look at the painting from a particular angle. In European painting and the painter's case, the painter wants the viewer to see whatever he has made, whereas Chinese painter wants the onlooker to look at the painting from different angles. Okay, from different angles, if they will view, they will be able to see picture clearly. It will not have any difference. It will give variety of points, variety of scenes which they can see from different angles. The onlooker is free in his opinion and perception. Onlooker, that is viewer, can see and perceive the painting and the stories related to it. They are free to do that. So, in short, it is Chinese art is not limited and it is not bounded, whereas European art is bounded by the conditions of the painter. Next question is question number 12. What is the significance of the horizontal scroll? Let's see the answer. The horizontal scroll is significant in understanding the realistic viewpoint, where you open up one section of painting, rolling it up to move to the other. Next point that you need to include is it requires an active participation of the viewers who is at liberty to move in time and space. This horizontal scroll means it is talking about the river. Okay, it is talking about the flow of the river. The way river flows, even the view of the viewer can have different variations. Okay, they will not have a particular direction to look at the painting. The way river flows, okay, in the same way the viewer's viewpoint also changes. We know that the river's flow is not fixed. Okay, it changes its course. Okay, in the same way the viewer's viewpoint also changes according to the requirement and according to the place where they are connected with. Let's move to question number 13. What is the Taoist view of the universe? The word Tao means both the path and the mysterious works of the universe. Okay, it is both the path and the mysterious work of the universe. Yang and Yin represent this Taoist view. Yang reaches vertically towards heaven and Yin is horizontal. We talked about mountain which goes upward and the river which flows down. This is the energy of nature because of which earth is surviving. Question number 14. What do you mean by yin and yang? Yang and yin. Here, yang is mountain reaching vertically towards heaven. It is stable. These are the characteristics. Students, please note it down. Warm and dry in the sun. It is active and masculine energy. On the other hand, yin is water, vertical and resting on the earth. It is fluid, moist, cool and feminine energy of nature. I hope it's clear. Question number 15. Which is the third element between yang and yin? This is very important question. Put asterisk mark here. The middle void or the middle empty space is the third element between yang and yin. It can be compared with the yogic practice of pranayama, the suspension of breath where meditation takes place. Okay, it is the white unpainted space. Now here it is kept blank so that viewers can show their contribution, what they view, what they see, what stories they make in their mind that can be painted here through their mind. That is why the spaces are left vacant. Question number 16. What is the importance of man between heaven and earth? Heaven represented by mountain and earth represented by rivers. Okay, so what is the importance of man? Let's find out. Man plays a fundamental role in a space between heaven and earth. This will be number 1 point. He acts as a conduit, okay, connection, a means of communication between both poles of universe. His presence is a must. He is the eye of the landscape. Now, man or the human beings are called eye of the landscape. They are called the eye of the landscape because without human being, nature is also incomplete. Okay, here men like Nekchand contributes, okay, through their art contributes and saves earth, and that is why man's importance is very crucial here. Man, if they desire, they destroy earth, and if man desires, they save earth. So their role is very important. Question number 17. What do you mean by rock garden? Let's see the answer. Rock garden is situated in Chandigarh. It has been created by Nekchand. The garden is sculpted with stone and recycled material. Please give emphasis here because it is saving earth. He has used cups, broken bangles and other waste materials to create artistic things. Let's move to question number 18. How has Nekchand been hailed? Nekchand has been hailed internationally as India's biggest contribution to outsider art. Raw Vision, a UK-based magazine features Nek Chand and his rock garden sculpture Women by the Waterfall on its anniversary issue's cover. Nek Chand's contribution was not hidden, it was highlighted nationally and internationally by US Magazine, and it was a great honor to an Indian to be famous in foreign country as well through his contribution. Single-handedly, he has created this rock garden, and he deserves applaud. Question number 19. How is Nek Chand going to be honored at the international level? Nek Chand will be honored by Swiss Commission for UNESCO by giving a European exposure to his works. The 5-month interactive show Realm of Nek Chand will be held at the leading museums in Switzerland, Belgium, France and Italy. So these are the points, children, that you have to include when it will ask about honoring Nek Chand. Question number 20. Who was Jean Dubuffet? What was his contribution to art? The first point will be he is a French painter and he propounded the concept of art brut in 1940s. Art brut means raw art without taking training. Okay? Art brut stands for the art of those artists who have not received any formal training. I told you this now. Jean Dubuffet rejected the traditional view. Traditional view means to look at a piece of art from only one point. Okay? For him, art can be found anywhere and art can be created by human beings because of their different perspective. So they see Jean Dubuffet and Nek Chand see art in the things which are rejected and the things which are discarded by the people. Credit goes to Dubuffet to popularize art brut or outsider art. The contribution of Dubuffet I have already mentioned in line-wise explanation. You can go and you can see that video in order to see the contribution of Jean Dubuffet and Nek Chand. So this is the answer that you have to write.